Welcome back to Word Module 3, Part 2. Let's keep going. So next up, I need to add some values in B19 through B25. These can be found on EX317 in your book, and I'm going to type them. I am going to type them with their formatting, which means I'll type them exactly how they're written, with their percent signs or their commas or however many decimal points. I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and then we'll come back. Next thing we are going to talk about is probably one of the hardest things in this chapter, and it's important that you know and understand it because not only is it used a lot in Excel, but it will be on your test. So it's called absolute versus relative cell references. So we are used to relative cell references. That's what we've been doing so far. And that means when you have a formula and you fill it down or across, it changes depending upon which column or which row it is in. So that's relative. It changes relative to where it's located in your spreadsheet. An absolute cell value does not change, even when you fill it across or down. So hang in with me. We're going to start doing it a little bit in this lecture, and then I think once you do some of it in class, you'll begin to understand it. So first of all, we're going to click in B5, and we're going to put a formula here. So all formulas start with an equal, and we are just going to type this formula. So B4 asterisk parenthesis 1 minus B19. And then we want B19 to be an absolute cell reference. So to do that, if I hit the F4 key on my keyboard, it will put dollar signs around the cell and the row, or around the letter and the number, so the row and the column. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my end parentheses and hit enter. So now that we have our formula in, let's take a look and see what that is actually saying. What does this formula up here mean? So the cost of goods sold is B4, which is our revenue, times 1 minus B19. So B19, if you look down here, there is only one column of numbers. So there's nothing in C19 or D19. So all we have is B19. Now, when we fill across a formula, the numbers in it change depending upon which column they're in. But in this case, we want this formula to keep looking down at B19 even if we fill it all the way across to column C or D. So I'll show you what I mean. I've clicked on B5, and now I'm going to drag across through G5. Now, let me go ahead and turn on my formula so you can see this. You can see B4 changed to C4, changed to D4, changed to E4 based on what column these were in. But B19 stayed the same no matter how we filled it across because it's going to continue to look at this number, the margin. The next formula is pretty easy. It has all relative references. So it's going to be equals B4 minus B5. That's it. Go ahead and fill that across. And once again, notice that since they're relative, the letters change depending upon which column we're in. Okay, the next thing we are going to talk about are if functions. And these are logical tests that check to see if something is true, something will happen. If it's false, something else will happen. So it's an if-then statement. So to do this, we go on our formula bar in the logical area and choose if, and then it's going to pop up this box right here, which is a very helpful box. If we carefully walk through what the formula is asking, then it's pretty easy to fill in the blanks. So our logical test here is going to be, this is about bonuses. So this is going to test to see if the person deserves a bonus. So if B4 is greater or equal to the absolute value of B21, so I'm going to type B21 and then I'm going to hit my F4 to make it absolute. So if B4 is greater than or equal to the absolute value of B21, so if the revenue is greater than the salary revenue for bonus, then if that's true, then we are going to place in the cell the absolute value of B20. So I'm going to type in B20 and hit F4. If that's not true, if it's not greater or equal to, if it's less, then there's going to be no bonus here. So we're going to put in a 0 there. Now I'll click my OK button, and now the computer will look and see whether or not B4 is greater than or equal to the salary revenue for bonus. And if it is, then the person gets a bonus, and that bonus is $5,000. That's how that works. When I fill it across, you can see there are some months that the person earns the bonus, but for instance, in this month, which is March, the revenue was not equal to or greater than the salary revenue for bonus, so they didn't get a bonus. That's what an if statement does. Now I have other formulas that I need to go ahead and enter as we go along. So these are found on page EX327 in your paper book. I'm going to go ahead and type them in. So B4, this is B4 times the absolute value of B22. The next one is B4 times the absolute value of B23. B4 times the absolute value of B24. And B4 times the absolute value of B25. Now that I have all of these numbers in, my total expenses, there's a typo, my total expenses, I'm going to go ahead and click my sum button to sum those up. And double check and make sure that we are doing the sum of B9 through B13. So on B16, I'm going to put in B6 minus B14. Now, when you're done, this is what your formula should look like in this area. Remember, Control Accent lets you see your formulas. You press it once, it turns on your formulas. You press it again, it turns them off. Now, I do need to go ahead and copy these formulas across in my spreadsheet. So I'll go ahead and select, let's do B10 through B16, and then get my fill handle and drag across for that. Now let's take a look at my total over here, and we want to put in some row totals, and we can do that for non-adjacent cells if we use the control key. So we'll first start by selecting H4 through H6, and then hold down my control key, and H8 through H14. Keep my control key down, and I also want H16, because if I were to just fill the formula down after putting it in, it would put zeros in the cells in the rows where there's no values. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then if I hit my quick sum on my menu, it will go ahead and put in the sums for all those cells at one time. So that just makes it easier. You can still do it one at a time if you want.